And we're recording.
All right, we'll call the regular meeting of May 11th, 2021 to order. We could have the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Sean Douglas.
Here.
Michael Howry.
Here.
Michelle Hayes.
Here.
Ryan Horvath.
Here.
Gene Sensi.
Here.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move. I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Sean Douglas.
Yes.
Michael Howry.
Yes.
Michelle Hayes.
Yes.
Ryan Horvath.
Yes.
Gene Sensi.
Yes.
Vote is 5-0.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of April 6, 2021?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Michael Howry.
Yes.
Michelle Hayes.
Yes.
Ryan Horvath.
Yes.
Gene Sensi.
Yes.
Sean Douglas.
Yes.
Vote is 5-0.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of April 20th, 2021?
I'll move. I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Michelle Hayes.
Yes.
Ryan Horvath.
Yes.
Gene Sensi.
Yes.
Sean Douglas.
Yes.
Michael Howry.
Abstain.
I'm sorry.
Abstain.
Thank you. Vote is 4-0-1.
All right, we'll now move to board member reports. I'll start this evening. We wanted to thank the levy committee that was led by Bob Dyack for all of their efforts in trying to get our message out to the community. They worked very hard despite the results that we had. We did hold 2 town halls, both of which were held virtually, one of which was also held live in person. All of those were recorded and placed online for people who couldn't attend. We delivered hundreds of yard signs and put out 2 different mailers. So we want to thank the committee very much for their efforts. It was difficult to mount a campaign during a pandemic. There was a significant amount of inaccurate information that was out on social media. We did our best to try to correct those. However, with so many different pages and so many different sources of information, that was difficult to keep up with. We also weren't expecting a federal super PAC to be contacting our residents with a negative message, but nonetheless, we are disappointed with the election results. Our board's going to take some time. We're going to regroup, and then we will decide on next steps. So I know some people may be tuning in tonight looking for answers on what the board is going to do as a result of the levy failure. However, that's going to take some time over the coming weeks and even the coming couple of months for the board to develop a process to make those decisions and figure out how we can get the proper community input before we make any decisions about moving. So that's what I have to say about the levy. Is there anyone else wishing to give a board member report this evening?
Not for me, Sean. You hit the nail on the head.
Anyone else? All right, well, we will move to the first public participation portion tonight. This is on agenda items only. Anyone wishing to address the board would have 5 minutes per person to do so, with a maximum amount of 30 minutes for this portion. So if you wish to be recognized, please either utilize the feature here where you can raise your hand, or you can literally just sort of wave at the screen here and we will unmute you, and then you can address the board.
See nothing, Sean.
All right, seeing none, we will move on to reports and recommendations of the treasurer.
Thank you. While I have several items on the agenda, there is one item that I do want to talk a little bit about this evening. So on the agenda is the 5-year forecast for our May update, starting with this fiscal year and ending in fiscal year 2025. So, the question I've been hearing is why the update? Why did you put out so many forecasts? And, 2 are required. 1 was an extra one because of the changes due to the stimulus. And another one was just putting in the estimated revenue from the levy had it passed. So I want to make sure people understand that we're not just constantly issuing 5-year forecast as small items change. So outside of the 2 that were required, we only really board approved and submitted 1 additional forecast for this fiscal year. So again, we're required to do it in November and May. Required to do it in November and May, and this is the May update. So it's only been a few months, but why has it changed? Well, in May, we typically have all of our real estate tax collections. And this year they came in about $42,000 higher. And some may say, well, that's significant. But when you look at just the real estate tax, that's about 0.4%. So that's pretty close, especially in a year where we expected the levy or the real estate tax collections to be a little lower due to the pandemic. I adjusted it for the return of the advances at the end of the fiscal year in 2020. We advanced out about 132,000 to other funds to make them positive by the end of the year. And then during the next fiscal year, they return those advances. Well, I did that during April. So we've adjusted that to actual. We have reduced the wages. We have 3 teachers who are not being replaced. They are either resigning or retiring, and we're not replacing them. And then we are also increasing our wages for all years of the forecast by 1 special education teacher and 2 special education aides for just next year, because those seem to move in and out on a more frequent basis. And that's required because of the student ratio mandates. And I don't know, Angela, do you want to say something about that?
Yes, we have all year been watching our numbers and have tried to absorb a retirement from September. And we're at a point in looking at those numbers where we just cannot meet the ratios anymore. So we will have to add an additional special education teacher over and above the staffing that we already have in place. And then, as Mike said, we get one-to-one needs from time to time. And while we hope that, it's not a permanent solution, that's why we're figuring on those 2 aides for next year, just for the year. But, it could be an ongoing reoccurring cost. It just depends on the progress of the students involved.
Thank you. And then the benefits have been reduced by those 3 teachers not being replaced. After the February forecast was created, the healthcare consortium that we're a member of granted all member districts a 1-month premium freeze because their expenses were down quite a bit, because as the pandemic hit, nobody went to the doctor. So we pay our premiums based on claims. And since claims were lower, we've got a 1-month premium holiday that we're going to take in June of 2021. And then because we're also changing the effective year of the plans from July to June, we're changing them to January to December. The consortium has also decided to put off any increase in premiums to the member districts until January 1st. So I've slightly reduced the effect on the fiscal year for that delay in premiums. So what hasn't changed? Real estate tax revenue, because that seemed to be the big misinformation that was out there. Okay, except for that small adjustment I talked about earlier. State aid, which, was out there that we're getting more money, and I'm going to explain why it's not included. And any effects of the ARP or ESSER 3, as we more commonly refer to it. And I'll talk about why. So real estate tax, there was a lot of talk about this Madison Industrial Park going in at 528.90. There's going to be a Sheets going in, there's going to be a Loves going in, and Great Lakes Power is relocating from Menor to Madison. And it was Sunday, and I wonder what the actual effect of those are going to be. Well, let's look at Sheets first. So I looked at the last two sheets that I knew that were built. Willoughby's is probably the most recent, but when I looked on the auditor's, Lake County Auditor's website, it was still listed, I think, as Eaton Park. So I used the value for sheets that were built in Menor and Perry. Both were similar, but Menor was a little bit higher, so I used the value at 1.1 million. Taxable value is 35% of that. Now, remember, everything in that area becomes 75% tax abated, and that's where people were missing how much impact we were actually going to get. So the non-abated value, tax value, is $96,000. Our operational millage is 29 mils and change. So from that property in a full year, we're going to get about $2,851. Loves, I don't remember whether Loves is going in where Pizza Roto is or Sheets, so I just put Loves there. Loves, I use the same value because they're similar type truck stops. Praise value of 1.1. The value already there is 131,000. So now we're talking about the increase in the abatement is on the increase in value, and we're already collecting money on the value that's there. So the increase is 877,000. The taxable value, which is 35% of that, is 306,000. Non-abated, which is 25%, is $76,000. Operational millage means we're going to get $2,273 a year from that property. And then finally, Great Lakes Power, their current appraisal is 1.6 million. I figured they're moving out. They're going to spend more money. So let's say 2 million. Taxable value is 35%, not abated value. 25% of that is 175 grand. Apply the millage. So the additional tax on that is $5,184. Now, Mike, you might be, well, let's talk about timing, because at first it was out there that we were going to get all this money next year. Well, that's not possible. Nothing was built by January 1st of 21. To collect money in calendar year 22, they look back at the value that's on the books as of January 1st of the prior year. So January 1st of 2021. So for us to get money in calendar year 2023, 2 years from now, it has to be finished by the end of this calendar year, or at least 50% finished. And I had conversations with the auditor that if it's at least 50% finished, he'll put some value on, which is typical. That's what auditors do. So if it's finished by the end of this year, we'll get about half of that money in fiscal year 2023, $5 grand. And then in fiscal year 2024, which comprises the second half of calendar year 2023 and the first half of calendar year 2024, we'll get all $10,000. What's that mean to us? That is a 0.05% increase in our real estate tax revenue in fiscal year 23. And fiscal year 24, it's not even 1/10 of 1%. Keep in mind, construction hasn't started yet. The longer it takes for construction to start, the more likely it is we won't see any money in 2023. So you're saying, Mike, you're crazy, your values are too low. All right, 10 million bucks added to those three corners. Taxable value is 3.5 million. Taxable value after abatements, 875,000. We get $25,000, $26,000. So clearly, this isn't the windfall that everybody thinks it's going to be, because it is so heavily abated. And it's abated for 15 years. So the millions that we're being told we're going to get just aren't there. So the other part that was out there is we're going to get money from the revaluation. You know, all our property taxes are going to go up in that. Again, for a majority of your tax associated with the school, that's just not true. The part that will go up is there's something called inside millage, which is 4.85 mils for Madison schools, which is 4.85 of the 29.62. If that goes up, then we will recognize some additional revenue. A 5% increase in values across the district will net this district $87,000. Okay. when I show you the ending balance, we're $10 million in the hole, $87,000 a year doesn't get us out of it. And then, we're going to end up doing another forecast for the year starting fiscal year 2022 in September, October, November of next year. We might have a better idea of district wide what the property values go up. If we do, we will certainly include it in there. My forecast this year and always has new construction in it. So we've always had new construction, and that was another falsehood out there. State aid. So, we've been told all this money's coming our way. The governor put in student wellness success funds. He actually increased it. The House removed that and started funding the Fair School Funding Plan, which resulted in a much lesser increase. And then the Senate said, we're going to do what we're going to do. And the latest is they're going to increase vouchers, which would only hurt this district. So again, there's no increase in the state budget because we have zero idea of how it's going to affect Madison. What they're doing statewide doesn't matter if it doesn't trickle down to Madison. So again, as soon as we know what it is, it'll be included in a forecast. And then the ARP, the ESSER 3 funds, the initial guidance was issued on May 6th. There's been talk about how to spend it, but the initial guidance, which is 60 some pages long, was issued May 6th. Planning has to take place, and we've talked ad nauseum about how these funds are going to help the district, but really aren't going to help the general fund, which is the 5-year forecast. So difference between the two, because of those cuts we made and the changes in health insurance and the little other adjustments we made, both positive and negative, we've got an ending balance of $166,000 on a $29 million budget. That's, to give you an idea, that would be about a quarter of a payroll, and our payroll's every 2 weeks. So that took it to at least a positive balance so we can, start the year with appropriations. 23 went down about $1.1 million. Again, that's the cumulative effect of not only the cuts being carried out 4 years, but some of the, the lesser health insurance between now and the end of the forecast. But if you look in 2025, we're still 10 million in the hole. So clearly all this fantasy revenue that's being talked about, just when you look at the numbers, just isn't true. And, that was the battle that Sean was talking about. We couldn't keep up with the misinformation that was out there. So going forward, I don't know how we do this other than every time we're able to talk, we just talk about the facts. So are there any questions before I stop sharing the PowerPoint?
I don't have a question. I just have a request. If we could, certainly we want, we always put the entire meeting on our website for people to watch. I wonder if we could also shave down and pick out just this part so that I can share that with various different people and places.
We can do that. And typically a screen like this, I would never have all this information on it, not for a PowerPoint, but I assumed I was going to post this PowerPoint in its entirety somewhere. And that way they're not, normally it would be reduced by 3 teachers and I would talk about it. But, when I put this together, I thought it was going to be posted, but I will also talk to Joe about cutting out just the presentation part.
Thank you. And then I have another question about Angela.
Yes.
I know that we have the teachers on our agenda, for them that are retiring. Can you talk about what 3, not specific teachers, but what 3 positions we are not replacing as a result of that failure to that levy?
We had a resignation at the elementary that will not be replaced. We had 2 PE teachers. So one of those will not be replaced. And we had a math teacher at the high school and that will not be replaced in the general fund, but we are looking at, because one of the uses of ESSER dollars is to help in staffing loss. So we are looking at using ESSER dollars to replace that position. But right now, because we don't have those dollars aren't showing anywhere.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So if there's no other questions, I'm going to move on to the items in the agenda.
Sounds good.
So the first item is to approve the financial reports for all funds, the fund-to-fund transfer report and the check payment register for April 2021. To approve the 5-year forecast FY 2021 to 2025, the May update as presented and found on file in the treasurer's office. And finally, to approve Shakely as a third-party administrator for workers' compensation at a cost of $2,360 and to approve participation in their 2021 group retrospective rating program.
Move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Brian Horvath,
Yes.
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
John Douglas,
Yes.
Michael Howery,
yes,
Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
vote is 5-0. And the other item is to accept a bunch of donations. So a generous donation of Baskin Robbins gift cards from Allie White to North Elementary School to be used for PBIS. Generous donation of masks from Matthew Byers to North Elementary School to be used as needed for students and staff. Generous donation from Jacqueline Furtick of $25 to the Madison High School Drama Club and $25 to the Madison High School Choirs to be used as needed. Generous donation of donuts from Maggie's Donuts to North Elementary School, South Elementary School, and Madison Pre-K for the Teacher Staff Appreciation Week. Generous donation of hand sanitizer and masks from Circle K Geneva to South Elementary School to be used as needed. A generous donation of boxed lunches from Subway to North Elementary School for Teacher Staff Appreciation Week. And finally, a generous donation of dilly bars from Dairy Queen to North Elementary, Madison Middle School, Madison High School, South Elementary, and Madison Pre-K for Teacher Staff Appreciation Week.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Thank you very much to everyone that donated. We really appreciate it. And I love that the community does support us that way. So thank you very much.
Roll call?
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
John Douglas,
Yes.
Michael Howery,
yes,
Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
Brian Horvath,
Yes.
vote is 5-0. And that's all I have this evening. Thank you.
All right, well, under my reports tonight, I'd like to start, and I don't know, Kelly, if you have your camera, but you know, if you could unmute her mic.
He has the opportunity to.
Okay, so Kelly Minnick, our Nutrition Services Director, has been recognized first as the Ohio School Meal Director of the Year, and then went on and she has been named Mid-East Regional School Director of the Year. And I asked her to come tonight because Kelly and her team have been doing phenomenal things for the past year throughout this pandemic. But even before that, Kelly came in and helped to streamline and make our nutrition services program more efficient while still providing quality meals for breakfast and lunch to our students. And so, Kelly, I just wanted to have you here tonight to recognize you on your accomplishments and say congratulations. And if anybody else from the board wants to say anything, we do have a resolution later on in the agenda for her.
Kelly got robbed. She should have been National Food Service Director.
Is Kelly still with us? Because it looks like she disappeared.
No,
I'm
Kelly's
here.
here.
I'm here.
She
Oh,
went to
okay,
video.
great.
So she moved.
Anybody that has their camera on moves up to the top
Okay.
and move
Yeah.
around.
So thank you, Angela. And I just wanted to say thank you to Angela and Mike, who originally brought me to Madison, and the board who has kept me around to serve the students and families in Madison. And, you know, people don't get recognized and win awards alone. So just want to give a huge shout out to the nutrition services team and all the schools at Madison, and particularly for the last year that they've fed families and students, and all the work that they've done. So they're a great group to work with. Thank you.
Congratulations, Kelly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. We really appreciate you. And this is
Thank you very much.
a big honor.
Looks like it's been to our benefit, so.
All right. Well, under my other reports, I did want to, because it's kind of tied into nutrition services a little bit, because I find things out in emails after the governor sort of makes announcements. But he is looking to offer because they approved Pfizer yesterday for children now 12 to 18. And so he is looking to offer clinics regional, at each location where people are doing summer food pickups, because he wants to reach as many children as possible to get these vaccines before the start of school in fall. There is a meeting Thursday with superintendents, and there was a whole lot of updates, I guess, this morning through the health department, and we'll be getting those on Thursday at the superintendent's meeting. And so I will have more information about vaccines, vaccine clinics, startup of school after that meeting, I do believe on Thursday. Once I have a good plan, I will be putting that information in a community update so parents can plan accordingly. We also have tentatively scheduled a clinic on May 24th for 16 to 18-year-olds at the high school. When we did the survey through the ESC a few weeks ago, we had about 50 students interested in partaking in those vaccines. But a lot of students that did have the families that completed the vaccine, I think we had about over 100 responses the last time that was the data was given, and about 50 of them had the vaccine. So people are getting it, students are getting it, and the more people we get vaccinated, the more back to normal things can become, I think, in the fall. High School Musical is this weekend, and it is Disney's High School Musical. It will be in our Madison High School gym Thursday, Friday, and 2 performances on Saturday, 1 at 2 and 1 at 7. The students have been working very hard. Normally we would use Rabbit Run, but because of the capacity limits, it was more conducive to use our gym, because 25% capacity indoors for us is about 200 tickets per performance. At Rabbit Run, if you have 300, you're only going to be able to fit, not more than 60 to 70 people in Rabbit Run on any given evening. And so anybody that, had been to musicals at Rabbit Run before, so it's usually a very cold weekend, so take advantage of this and be indoors. Senior awards and graduation are next week. Tuesday evening at Madison High School will be the Senior Academic Awards and Scholarship Recognition program. Obviously, with COVID, it's a little bit different in that we won't have the, banquet that they usually have, but they will have all the scholarships that are normally offered and all the awards. So that's a very exciting event. And last week I was at the juniors and Dave was at the sophomores, and they went very seamlessly. So, as I've told this board numerous times, Fish is the master event planner. Graduation will be next Saturday, May 22nd. The ceremony starts at 10:30. I'm asking, that board and staff be there at 9:30 because it's going to be a little bit different. I will have all details in the memo on Friday so that you have enough information to be able to make it to graduation. I will pick up the robes for you next Friday on the 21st, and I'll have them at Captain Stadium for you that day. So you don't have to make a stop at the high school and pick up your robe. I'll just have them for you that morning. You always ask me when we get to the diploma list. So I'll tell you right now, there are 213 names on the graduation list. Obviously, they are still finishing their semester. So we hope that all 213 are with us next Saturday and that they're doing what they need to do to complete those requirements. And we are just looking forward to commencement because, there's nothing like everybody gathering for a commencement. Last year we did something as nice as we could make it given the parameters we were. but I think it's going to be exciting to have commencement. And while I'm talking about those events, prom, the students were very well behaved. They showed up with their masks. They followed the directions, the rules, and knock on wood, we are not seeing any uptick of COVID cases. So that's a good thing. You know, we've had a couple cases this week, but they weren't prom related because they were all, I think, mostly underclassmen. And then finally, I just want to let you know of a conversation I had today. Dr. Robert Summers is head of CF Educational Solutions, and he's a partner with our communications team, Schoolcom Communications, our consultant. And so he is providing some data for us, looking at success rates, performance rates, willing to do some thought exchanges for us at no charge to the district as we set the next step in the direction of what we want to do going forward for the finances and for the education of our students. At this point, I don't have any more than that. As I get more information, I will share it with you. But I think it's important to know because as Mike addressed in his forecast, there was a lot of misinformation out there. And one of the big things was we pay money for a consultant to proofread the newsletters. That is absolutely not true. It is a full service communications team. They do biweekly Good News newsletter push outs. They maintain a Good News District social media page on Facebook. They help with messaging and literally 24/7 support. So for the cost of that contract, which is $12,000 a year, we got a big bang for our buck because a lot of districts have full-time communications people. And we just use that support. And I think they help a lot. So.
And Angela, I just want to also say that I believe that when we had our communications person, I want to say it was at least 10 years ago that we let her go. It may have been more like 12 years ago. If I remember correctly, she was not even full-time. She was part-time and her salary was far more than what we pay for the contract that we have for communications now.
That is correct.
Yeah.
If I vaguely remember, I think we were paying around $17,000 a year.
So I just want people to realize the cost savings in, that we do recognize from having that communication service outsourced that way.
And that is what I have, Dave.
Okay, I just have two topics tonight. In a meeting this afternoon, I asked a teacher how she was feeling, and she said, "Great, we're done with testing now." We have been doing state testing of one type or another since February. All of that ends this Friday, so I think for all of our staff that have worked so hard through this process and all of the testing fatigue that we're feeling now, we're near the end. I'd like to thank a few people who have really worked hard. Of course, the teaching staff who have to administer the tests, Jack Whaley at the high school, Tom Brady at the middle school, Bill Mayer at North, Seth Hartman at South for coordinating testing at each of the buildings, and Deb Richardson, who I work with, who's done a lot of behind the scenes things to make sure that kids are able to access their tests and get tested in a timely manner. So it's a big undertaking, takes about almost half a school year, and a lot of work goes into it. So, and a lot of people have done a lot to pull it off. This year was a little unusual. Students who are at home learning virtually were invited to attend, but did not have to come in. We had about anywhere from about half to 2/3 of our students who were virtual come in to test, depending on the building or the grade level. High school tests carry a little more weight normally because you're accumulating some points towards graduation. We had about 2/3 of our high school students come in and test. who have been virtual learners. So, and then the other thing that I've been working on, we have a very important hire that we're going to make. Last month, you accepted the resignation of Jan Maurer, who is our EMIS coordinator. That's our educational information management person. I would say that this is the most important job in the school district that no one has ever heard of. This person enters mountains of data into the state of Ohio, into the Ohio Department of Education, make sure that we're compliant, make sure that our funding flows the way it needs to flow. And so we're doing a very wide search. We've got a number of candidates, and we will work hard to replace Jan, who's done a fantastic job. And that's what I have tonight.
And Jen, can you give a 2-minute update, less than 2 minutes, because Sean wants to get to the band concert and we have executive session, but on your summer programming?
Now, you know, it's always hard for me. I've already wasted 20 seconds. So no, everything's going really, really well. In fact, we have an 18 meeting tomorrow. So I don't know if you could see, I have all of my boards and stuff here I've been working on. So we've had the interest right now. We have about 35 students so far for our English language learners who are going to be having a camp for the first time in a few years. Due to that money, we have about 25 other students, grades 1 to 2, and we're working on getting the message out now by parent, or I'm sorry, by teacher recommendation. So things are rolling pretty quickly, and we're excited to have, we had the teachers applying this week, and so we should have everything kind of ready to move, all the plans in place next week.
This has been a big job, and Jen's done a fantastic job putting it together.
My pleasure.
All right, ready for my recommendations?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Under the personnel motion this evening, I'm asking you to accept the following resignations. To accept with regret the retirement resignation of Louise Haydock, Madison Middle School kitchen manager, effective July 1st, 2021, after 35 years of service to the district. To accept the resignation of Sean Eddickson, custodian at Madison High School, effective May 10th, 2021. To accept the resignation of Emily Davies, an intervention specialist, autism at South Elementary School, effective the end of the school year. To accept the resignation of Renee Farina, intervention specialist at Madison High School, effective the end of the school year. To accept the resignation of Eric Head, art teacher at Madison High School, effective the end of the school year. And the board, I'm asking the board to approve the following unpaid leaves. Unpaid medical leave of Jill Short, nutrition services cashier at Madison High School for the period of August 17th, 2021 through May 26th, 2022. To approve the unpaid leave request of Sherry Bayshard, grade 2 teacher at South Elementary for the period of August 17th, 2021 through May 26th, 2022. I'm asking you to recall the following teacher. To recall Melissa Kolarik for the 2021-22 school year under a 1-year limited contract. And I'm asking you to enter into the following employment contracts, to employ the following substitute teacher as approved by the Educational Service Center of the Western Reserve and/or the Madison local school district superintendent. And that would be Rebecca Torres. The following person each as a casual day-to-day substitute, Delbert Yates, and to employ Hannah Gonzalez under a long-term substitute teacher contract from April 12th, 2021 through May 27th, 2021 to perform the duties of Jaslyn Albert. And that is the personnel motion this evening. And you know what? We forgot one other thing, but we'll come back to it. Do the personnel motion and then we'll come back to Oopsie.
I'll move.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Michael Howry,
Yes.
Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
Brian Horvath,
Yes.
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
John Douglas,
Yes.
vote is 5-0.
Okay, above that, sorry, my eye jumped to my recommendations, is the agreement with OPSI local number 238. And this is just to extend the contract.
I'll move.
Second.
Under discussion, I just point out there's with no base increase here for our staff who are doing their best to work with us here during difficult economic times, which we appreciate.
And I'll add the comment, between the teachers and OPSI, this is the 6th time in 12 years that the base has been frozen.
Yeah, I should have said this is the Ohio Association of Public School Employees, not teachers, which I said. So sorry about that. Any other discussion? Roll call?
Sean Douglas,
Yes.
Michael Howery,
Yes.
Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
Ryan Horvath,
yes,
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
vote is 5-0.
All right, we have numerous resolutions. The first is a retirement resolution for Tim Willis for his 30 years of service to the district. Bob Peterlin for his 31 years of service to the district. Linda Crago for her 21 years of service to the district. Louise Haydock, who we just said, 35 years of service to the district. Jan Mauer, after 22 years of service to the district. And then we have the resolution recognizing Kelly as the Ohio and Mideast Regional School Meal Director of the Year.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
So thanks for some very distinguished careers here. We appreciate hard work and excellence and the lives that you touched and changed because of it. Thank you.
Quite a few years of service, and I didn't think to add them up, but you know, you're looking at probably over 150 to between 150 and 200 years of service. So that's pretty impressive.
Thank you. Congratulations to all. Roll call?
Ryan Horvath,
yes,
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
Sean Douglas,
Yes.
Michael Howery, Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
vote is 5-0. And Angela, you missed the graduation list.
Oh man, I'm just my eyes. It's hard.
Poor Donna's gonna have to type this all up.
I apologize because this is also very important. So where is that motion between?
Right above the resolutions.
He needs to space this out better for me, I think. Yes, so to approve the list of seniors for graduation from Madison High School on May 22nd, 2021. And the board grants the administration the authority, I like to read this part in full, to remove from the list the name of any student who does not meet the graduation requirements established in board policy 5460 or who has excessive absence and unexcused absences or tardies as defined in board policy 5200 or who demonstrates improper behavior as defined by board policy 5500.
I'll move,
Second.
Any discussion? Congratulations to the students. Roll call?
Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
Ryan Horvath,
yes,
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
John Douglas,
Yes.
Michael Howery,
Yes.
vote is 5-0.
Yeah, I think I need to get some of those trifocals. Under the consent calendar tonight, we have 2 items to enter into an agreement between the Madison Local School District and School Point for web design and services effective April 29th, 2021 through June 30th, 2024 at a cost of $4,000 per year. And then to approve an addendum with the ESC of the Western Reserve to include the Madison Local School District's participation in Unique Like Me.
I'll move.
A second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I would like to share with the board this evening that School Point has been our web design, our website provider for quite a while now, and they renegotiated the contract at a savings of $2,000 per year. So over the cost of the contract, we will save $6,000 from what we're currently paying.
Nice.
Fabulous.
And Unique Like Me is a little store in Painesville that our special needs students throughout the county work at and learn job skills and make things. And if you've never been down there, it is worth going to.
It really is.
Mhm.
Roll call?
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
John Douglas,
Yes.
Michael Howery,
Yes.
Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
Brian Horvath,
Yes.
vote is 5-0.
All right, we will now have the second public participation portion. This time's available to any member of the public to address the board. You'll have 5 minutes to do so with a maximum time of 5 minutes per person, not to exceed 30 minutes total. Anyone wishing to address the board, if you could click the raise hand feature or wave your hand and we'll unmute you and you can address the board.
So Leah Turner was the first person to wave.
All righty.
Okay, I think, am I unmuted now?
You are.
Okay, all right. I guess I just wanted to, I'll start by thanking everybody who did do what they could for the levy. I wanted to say that I think we have a lot of people with a lot of gifts in our district that we don't fully utilize all the time. When I think of when we passed the other levy, I feel like Bill Mayer is a really strong connector and a rallier. And I really believe that he helped get people together to push it through. I don't know, like, I don't think that it probably wouldn't have passed anyway. I think that it's a really hard time. I know many school districts didn't pass their levies. I think we're in a pandemic. I know that we asked for a lot of money because we know that's the need, and we asked for a permanent levy. It was a tough one, and we probably mostly knew it wasn't going to pass, but it was what we need for our students, so we ask. But I do think that if we would have gotten more people involved, we would have not had such a big drastic difference in the opinion. I think that you can see, like, the other side, even though maybe they lied and they didn't give the full truth, they also had a really strong committee. That's what I hear a lot of people saying. They're like, the other people were really clear about what they wanted. And I know that you guys did a lot. I know that the committee did a lot to try to communicate, but I think that we didn't rally enough people together. I'm just saying this. I know you can't change anything. I'm not trying to dwell on the negative. I know that Madison will do what they can. When people say, oh, what are you going to do? I've told everybody, we're going to be okay. We're going to move forward. We're going to do what we can because we've always done that. And we have people who really care. While I hope that we don't, and I want to be surprised by the government giving us all this extra money, but then I also don't want that, because then I feel like it'll be even harder to pass the next one, because people are going to say, oh, you lied to us, which we know isn't true. I just wanted to say that I feel like it can't be about money. I feel like we have to change the culture. I think that that's something that we need to work together, and we need to pull more people together with their gifts. I know that you're trying, and I'm just asking for you to ask for more help from other people. When I talk to other teachers and other community people, a lot of people feel the same way. We feel like we don't know what's going on all the time. I think that you feel like you communicated in a lot of different ways, but I also just feel like I never even knew about a committee meeting. I heard of one meeting like after the fact, and I'm not on Facebook, so I don't always see all this stuff. And I'm not trying to say that, I'm not trying to point fingers. I'm just saying, I wish that when we start thinking about what we're going to do in the future, please get more of us involved, people who really want to make a difference and want to see things for the better here. Like when you made that video is amazing. There are so many positive things I can say that you did do. I just feel like we could do more. The video made me cry. I feel like the video with all the pictures of all the things that we did this year, and it just shows how precious the time was that we had in the classroom this year. We could have been a district that didn't come back, but you found a way to make it work. I know that we can find a way. I know we can find a way to speak to the hearts in Madison. I know that people don't always have money, but I think that we can do different things. I know that you care, and I know that there are a lot of people who do care, who want to help. And I just wanted to encourage you to, in the future, to just please reach out more. Please call me. If you don't see me at a meeting and you think I can help, please start calling us. And I know you don't have time. I know I need to take more effort to look and see how I can help. but I do feel like we can do more. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to address the board? Again, if you could either click the raise hand feature here on Zoom or wave your hand so that we could see you, knowing that you want to be unmuted.
Seeing nothing, Sean.
All right, seeing none. We do have a need for executive session. I know, Mike, you said yours is under area 1. Angela, do you know what number yours is under?
One I think is appropriate.
Okay, so do we have a motion to move into executive session for the purposes of the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of public employees or regulated individuals, or the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee or regulated individual unless such person requests public hearing?
I'll
I'll
move.
move. I'll second.
Any discussion? I'll point, we will not be taking any formal action when we come out of executive session. So when we come out of executive session, there'll be an adjournment. Roll call?
Sean Douglas,
Yes?
Michael Howry,
Yes.
Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
Brian Horvath,
Yes.
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
vote is 5-0.
All right, so we'll stand in recess.
I'm gonna let my dog